All right. Good evening, everybody. It is August 1st, 2021. You're now watching Real Talk with Ronnie live. It's the first day of the month, August 1st. I want to wish you guys a happy Sunday. Wow. So this week, a lot of things happened in terms of the campaign. Some sad news. On Friday, one of Bergen County's most cherished staples, the fireplace, closed down, shut its doors after 65 years of business. And it was a very sad day. This place has been an establishment in Bergen County in, Paramus for 65 years, for over 6 decades, right? That's generations of people have gone there for food, for fun. And that's a lot of memories that's being shut down now. So, unfortunately, the fireplace joins a long list of businesses that have closed down in recent years due to Democratic policies. All right, we have the Nabisco plant in Fair Lawn, which shut not too long ago. It's been a staple of Bergen County for decades, right? You might remember as a kid, me and my parents would be driving down the highway and we'd smell of the cookies, right? But now, sadly, that plant has shut down. The Stony Hill Inn in Hackensack, that's also shut down. And now the fireplace. So, I mean, at some point, the voters of Bergen County, it's not even a partisan issue, right? These businesses are closing down, and it's crystal clear why. And it's interesting to note that on Friday, because, on Friday, Jack Chitterelli, many candidates for Congress, for state assembly, for state senate, for county, and me, right? We were all there. And let me tell you, the line of people that packed this place to get their last burger in was like phenomenal. It like snaked around the entire building, right? It was like a mile long. Hundreds upon hundreds of people showed up at the fireplace on Friday to pay their last respects, right? And a lot of people there understood why this is happening because of the policies of not only this governor but of our county that's caused businesses to shut down. Because of COVID and because of all the lockdowns, a third of all small businesses in New Jersey have shut down for good. And those businesses are never coming back. So, like I said, at some point, this is not a partisan issue. This is an issue of right and wrong. And Democratic policies have been wrong for this state and for our county. That being said, I'm very happy to introduce my guest tonight. So, I've been talking to people that are running for Congress, running for governor, running for mayor or council from all different parts of the state and of our county. And, a few people came up to me and they were like, well, Ronnie, why don't you talk about Franklin Lakes? That's your hometown, right? And I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. And I'm sorry for neglecting my hometown. So on today's show, we're bringing it back home. We're bringing it back to Franklin Lakes. And to join us tonight, we have our very own councilman from Franklin Lakes, Charles X. Kahwaty. I'm very curious what the X stands for, so we're going to ask him that when he comes on. But Charles Kahwaty is a dedicated public servant. He is an attorney. He has his own firm. He specializes in estates, personal injury, and he actually also ran for freeholder. Well, it was known as freeholder back then. Now it's county commissioner, which is what I'm, running for. But he ran for freeholder, I believe, back in 2008 or 2009. Councilman Kahwaty was the past president of the Bergen County Bar Association, and he's the current president of the Bergen County Bar Foundation. So he is very involved in the legal community and very involved in his hometown of Franklin Lakes. It's interesting to note, Councilman Kahwaty grew up in Fair Lawn, as did I, and now he's in Franklin Lakes. So, I mean, we kind of share the same path. So I'm so happy to have him on tonight, and let's bring him on.
Hello, Commissioner.
Councilman. How are you, sir?
How you doing, Ron? Nice to see you, and thank you for inviting me on your podcast.
Sure, and thank you for coming on. Before we begin, what does the X stand for in X?
All right. Here's my question to you. Is there any other thing that stand for other than Xavier?
No. So that's what I was going to guess.
It's a confirmation name, but I had to come up with it.
Okay.
My parents had to come up with a name. I didn't want one, but they had to come up with it. So
okay,
that's the name.
Well, it's too bad you're not a professor, because then you'd be Professor X
Professor
from
X.
X-Men. Yeah.
Sounds pretty good. I like that.
Yeah. Okay. So, Councilman, so why don't you give us a rundown on your background? So you grew up in Fairlawn, right?
I
From
grew up
my
in
hometown.
Greenwood Drive,
Okay.
21-14. Loved
Right.
it there. Went to St. Catherine's in Glen Rock. Moved to Ridgewood when I was about 12-ish, something like that. Just for a very brief period of time when my folks were building a house in Franklin Lakes. Came to Franklin Lakes then. I moved away from Franklin Lakes, I guess, when I was in college and lived for a period of time in Wyckoff. And then when my folks passed away, I came back here.
Okay. Wow. So you went around Bergen County, and at the end you came back to where it all started, right?
Came back to God's country. There you go.
Where did you go to school for college?
I went to Georgetown undergrad.
Okay.
And Seton Hall Law School for law school.
Very great schools. I believe Jack Citarelli, our nominee for governor, also went to Seton Hall for his undergrad and for his master's, right?
Oh, he did? Okay. I didn't know that. Well, he's a very qualified, competent guy. So I hope he pulls it off.
He definitely is.
I would say it's a tough state to run as a Republican. I don't have to tell anybody that right now.
Right.
Franklin Lakes is a little bit better for the Republicans, or the 40th district, I should say. But as a general rule, it's been a bit of a challenge for us lately. And that's why I wish you and all the other Republicans running, I hope you can persuade the people of New Jersey how much better a state we would be under Republican leadership.
Right. Well, I know that I might have a lot to learn from people like you, because you actually ran for the office that I'm running for now, right?
Yes.
Back in 2008, when it was known as a freeholder, right?
Or some people call me freeloader.
Hey, freeloader.
Freeloader. And it was an interesting experience, Ron. I have to say, we going to every town in the county, campaigning, going to railroad stops in the early morning hours and you learn a lot. You learn a lot from people. And it's a great experience. But of course, the Democrats had something like $1 million to spend, and we had about $25,000. So we came on after the sermonette on TV for our campaign ads at like 2:00 in the morning. So it was a bit of a challenge. Right. But what was enthralling, though, it really was. And who knows?
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny, right? Because even though I'm running for a countywide seat, it seems like I'm running for Congress, because there's 70 towns in Bergen County. It's such a big place. So, I mean, if you run for Congress, I think there's maybe not as many towns, right? I know that if you run for assembly or for state senate, some of those districts have like 15 towns, as opposed to a county level, which is like 70 towns.
Well, you think about it, Ron, Bergen County, I believe, is like 2 or 3 times larger than the state of Wyoming's population.
Yeah.
Okay. So you actually are covering several congressional districts when you're running for a commissioner.
Right.
That's it. You're not far off when you say it's like running for Congress.
Yeah. Okay. So, Councilman, so why don't you take us through your, what got you into politics, and your entire, background.
Okay. I've always loved politics, even since I was a little kid. And I'm going to again date myself here, but I guess I was a very little child, but I remember this Jack Kennedy and HB9 Berlin, and We Observe Today and all that stuff. That I found that utterly addictive. And I always wanted to get involved in politics. I started rather late, starting when I ran for a freeholder. Right. But it's always been something that's interests me, particularly international relations. That has always interested me a great deal. And when this opportunity came by about 10 years ago, I said, I better grab it. And I did. And I've never looked back.
Okay. So you ran for So when you ran for freeholder in 2008, that was the first time you ever ran for any sort of
first time office, ever right? Ran for any office. I'm not sure that's the exact date, but it's around that period of time.
And so you ran for freeholder, and that gave you like your first like real taste of politics, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. I'm sure you're running into this right now too, where you go to an event and they have a big spread of food, and you say, "This is great stuff," and said, "Oh, I've got to go to Wallington. I've got to go to Fairlawn. I've got to go to Paramus." You can't spend much time there. You give your speech. You've got to move on, because you have to have exposure to the people who are going to vote for you. Right.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Since I started running for office, my waistline has gone through the roof. Oh. And there are pants that I bought like last year that fit like perfectly fine, and now I'm having trouble getting into it.
So you're cheating.
I'm not, sorry?
You're cheating.
Yeah, maybe. So I'm not sure if you had that same experience when you were running.
No, I get it. We had to keep moving. Boom, 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 and all that.
Right. Yeah, but the problem is, like you said, we go to all these different towns, right? So, and a lot of these towns, there's such like great like ethnic food. So, for a town like Wallington, right? It's a predominantly like Polish town. So, like last week, we went there, and like the Polish sausage, like their cuisines are so good. So you can't just stop at just like a little bite. You got to keep going.
I know.
And then we go to all these like festivals and like parades, and there's all these food trucks, right? There's like meatball subs, like sausage and peppers, there's pizza, there's everything. So I mean, you can't help yourself.
You're right. And actually, you get an idea how diverse the county is.
Right, yeah.
It really, you go South Bergen and North Bergen. It's got all ethnicities, all cuisines,
Right.
Demographically, everything you want. So it's
Yeah,
a
like
very,
you go
very
to
diverse
Fort
county.
Lee, there's like a lot of, there's Korean food, there's Japanese food. Like you go to Wallington, there's Polish food, and then Italian food is like it reigns king in
There is
almost all
king.
of Jersey, right? So
All Jersey, numero uno, no question about it.
So I mean, but people tell me that because I'm gonna be well, I've been walking from door to door now, and meeting people, and people have been telling me that once you start getting into the thick of things, like walking door to door, you're gonna start losing weight. So I'm waiting for that to happen still.
You'll become tournament tough in a matter of weeks. Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. So you ran for freeholder in 2008. You came up short, right?
Right.
Right. And then in 2011, right? I believe that's when you first ran for council in
Ran
Franklin
for council.
Lakes?
Well,
Okay.
I did run for council before and lost, actually.
Oh, really? When?
You see, you're hitting me on those dates, Ron. The memory fails me. Like a year, say 2 years earlier or something like that.
Okay.
And then there was a resignation when our current mayor, Frank Bavona, moved up. That created an opportunity or a seat. And then the Republican Club nominated me for the position, and which I was very fortunate to get. And let me add, by the way, we have a superb mayor and council too, but Frank Pavona. So we were blessed to have him come into that position when he did.
Right. Okay. So Charles, what are some of the duties of a councilman in Franklin Lakes?
Well, a couple of things. You review the budget. That's very important. Okay. And I think I'll call that the number one thing, actually, because you're allocating resources, which you would be doing as a commissioner. Make that decision. Setting overall policy. You confirm certain appointees, such as the police department, the fire department. But it's generally, you look at, we have resolutions, you look at overall, again, policy, major decisions that will have an impact. The road issues, fixing the roads, very basic thing. We do, that comes up all the time. Probably the number one concern of people or residents in this town, most towns actually. What can I don't know whether I have to bore you, and cut me off if you want. But I did write down a couple of things here, which I thought would be interesting, which is also keeping taxes low. And by the way, if I may toot our horn, meaning the mayor and council, we have the lowest tax rate in the county outside of Alpine, which is quite an accomplishment. It's remarkable. We've been maintaining that for some years. We have a $20 million budget, but the taxes go up only about $14 for the average resident in Franklin Lakes. Now think about this, and I think this is the biggest thing of all. Of the overall budget, 67% goes to the schools. 15.3% goes to the county, but only 15.6% goes to Franklin Lakes. So if you think about it, all we have of the taxes, when you write the check, only 15.6% can be used by the town for vital services. That's not a lot of money.
Right. And the vital services are like the fire, police.
Right. We have volunteer fire, but we have to pay the police, of course. The ambulance corps volunteer, but we have to pay for equipment, pumpers, trucks, cars, that sort of thing. We have to maintain all those. So that's not a lot of money. And of course, the schools, we have excellent schools, and they are, let's be honest, very well subsidized. And we've also had the advantage of great corporate residents, I'll call them that. Beckton Dickinson and Sigma. Now, unfortunately, we're losing Sigma, and there are bids coming in on that property. That's not finalized yet, but that's a work in progress, so to speak. But I mean, other than that, I think we've done a good job. I mean, we were named a healthy town to watch. We have a very low crime rate. I think we have a lower crime rate than about 80% of the towns roughly in New Jersey. There's one thing I want to point out, though, to the residents who may be watching this. And by the way, I did this many, many years ago when I did live here, and then before I came back, which is they often leave keys in their cars and they are stolen. That happened to me, by the way. And so it's a very, bitter lesson. It's a hard lesson. So I would just encourage our residents, when they leave their cars outside, lock them, please, because every day I pick up the police blotter, and it seems like there's a car theft, and that'd be the only thing of any consequence.
I think recently there was a car theft that happened just like that, right? Someone left their keys in their car, right?
Left their wallet in the car. Tell me about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's because, people think that Franklin Lakes is safe, and it is safe.
It is
but
safe.
Then they think it's too safe that they start, leaving their wallets and the keys in the car. But that's a lesson to be learned, right? You can never be too certain about your safety.
Don't offer them the steak on the skewer just like that. Don't make it too obvious for them. That's all. But overall, it's just a great town. We've had famous people live here, like I say, Phil Simms, of course. That's why I'm looking at my little list here. People who've been here. Bernard King, Tommy John, Jack Wallace.
Bernie Carrick also.
Bernie Carrick,
right?
Dwight Gooden, the Mets. Jack Wallace was a gold medal Paralympian in 2018. So a lot of famous people, and we've got the nature preserve,
right?
And people love to go kayaking on the reservoir/lake. In fact, I was at the Oakland Diner the other day. We don't have one here.
Right.
And some law school classmates said, we came from Bogota to go on your lake reservoir.
Yeah.
And we love it. And we want to thank you. I'll take it personally, of course. But we just want to thank you for doing that. It's just a great thing we have. We have 21 lakes here.
21 lakes. Wow.
21 lakes. And we have about, I got to get the numbers right here. Don't forget that here. I think it's something like 90 something miles of roads. Of course, they're not all owned by us, but a lot of them are. And they have to be maintained. That's another thing.
Oh, yeah.
And, I'm sorry.
I will say this. The roads in Franklin Lakes, I almost never see a pothole, right? I almost never see one. They're all smooth. They're all very, very well kept.
We have a great DPW. They're wonderful.
Right.
And we spend what money we have, we spend on that.
Right. One question though, I wanted to always ask: how come there's no street lights on the streets in Franklin Lakes, like any of them?
Well, again, that's a capital budget issue. It's not something we can rule out entirely. Let me do something that's analogous to that. Hydrants. Okay. Why aren't there hydrants, or many hydrants in Franklin Lakes? When Franklin Lakes, I call it New Franklin Lakes, that was the urban farms area developed by the McBride brothers. When that was done years ago, they had this idea of water ponds, which basically that's where they were, ponds, and the fire department could draw water out of them. They may have been fine in the beginning, but they outlived their usefulness very quickly. And the hydrants weren't put in the beginning. I think you have something analogous to that with the lights, perhaps. That can be done as part of a capital project. No one has really raised it as a major issue. But it's something, and I guess it goes to the aesthetics of the area as well, with the trees and everything. But it's certainly, if somebody's concerned about that, they could bring it to our attention.
Well, no, the only reason that I bring that up is because as you must know, in Franklin Lakes, as well as some of the towns in District 40, right? There's a lot of deer, right, and a lot of deer that dart out in the in the middle of the night, and that could be dangerous, right? So I think, this is just from my point of view. If there were more streetlights, it might be more and you could prevent some of these deers hitting cars and that kind of stuff.
It's a valid point, Ron.
Right.
And by the way, deer are a continuing challenge to us, because the argument's been made that we're invading their turf or they're invading our turf. Okay, however you want to look at it.
Right.
I have a family that lives in the front of my house, and they're there every day.
Yeah.
I think they are overpopulated. I think it has to be controlled. I've been told, I don't know whether this is true or not, that birth control does not work particularly well with them, because you have to do it every year, and that's a continuous thing. Of course, you get into the issue of animal cruelty if you have to shoot them or anything like that. But there's a real overpopulation issue. But it's not unique to us. It's all over the area, and we do what we do.
Okay, now, Councilman, you've mentioned, and this was a very important fact, that Franklin Lakes is, I believe, the lowest taxed town
after Alpine.
In Bergen County after Alpine. Now, how is Franklin Lakes and towns like Alpine, how are they able to maintain that low rate while all the other towns in Bergen County, their taxes are going sky high? Okay. What is Franklin Lake's secret?
Well, I'll tell you one secret, but I'll tell you the public reason. I'll tell you the secret reason.
Okay.
The public reason is we run not say a mean, but a lean machine in Franklin Lakes, meaning I think we provide very good services at a very competitive rate, so to speak, and we look at the budget very carefully. And certainly with our capital projects, we have like a 6-year capital project plan right now in place. Oh, let me just thought of something here. Very important why you bring that up.
Sure.
We've reduced over the last 10 years, we've reduced the deficit by about $5 million. So that's a real
Okay.
accomplishment
So
right
that's
there.
real key. Yeah, that's like one of those, biggest keys to it, right?
Cutting the deficit back. There's nothing wrong with having debt. Debt's important. You need debt to finance certain things, but we've been able to strike the right balance. The secret reason why we're able to keep it fairly low is because we have high assessments in Franklin Lakes.
Okay.
And when you have high assessments on the properties, you're able to generate that much more income.
Okay.
Plain and simple.
All right.
But you put the combination of running an efficient machine with assessments, and you can arrive at that figure
Right.
along with Alpine. And Alpine has very few services, by the way, that I've been told.
What is the current population of Franklin Lakes?
I was looking that up just before you called me. I can tell you the 2010. I don't think we have the 2020 figures. If they're out, I haven't seen it. But the 2010 was 10,590.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So I mean, in terms of if you compare that to other towns in Bergen County, is that considered like a mid-level town, like a smaller sized town, or what?
I think it's pretty much a mid-level town, actually.
Okay.
But we are the third largest town by area.
Okay.
In Bergen County. Mawa's number one, Paramus, and then us by
Okay,
area.
wow.
Which means for our police and fire and the like, there is a lot of area to maintain, or DPW. I can't leave them out of the picture. And we have to actually, we're thinking about getting a new sweeper. We need something like that to keep the roads clean. So all these things are in play.
Okay. What are the biggest issues that you think are facing the town of Franklin Lakes in today's world, like today?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, you maintaining the progress that we've made to date. I think that's important. I mean, it's great to talk about what you've done so far. Maintaining it's always a challenge. And look, let's talk about COVID. We were able to get some federal money, and we thought we were going to be really in a hole last year. By some miracle, we weren't. We were able to meet payroll and do well. So that's something. A continuing challenge is what we call affordable housing, the Mount Laurel issues there. And that's something we are always concerned about. And it's a balance again. We have reached a settlement with the court on development in the town to try to make it, I guess, as pleasing and aesthetically attractive as possible without overbuilding. And I like to tell the people in this town that these things are largely dictated to us. I have my own views on Mount Laurel. I'll say it. I think it's usurpation of home rule, to be putting it very bluntly. But given the Supreme Court rulings on this issue, we have very little play on it. We negotiate with the builders. They call it a builder's remedy. You may have heard of that. We do the best we can. You get the settlement to the court. We could challenge it in court, and we have in the past. But historically, the courts have favored the builders. And so you see projects going on like Sunrise and the like, which I'm not saying they're bad projects, they're good projects, but the problem is that they're not created by us, they're created by developers, and we have little control over them.
Now, so for people that are maybe not against these projects, but have issues with these projects, what are the main issues?
When you say, I guess, overdevelopment in terms of, I guess, we've been trying to maintain the town in terms of like a country-like atmosphere, to put it that way, keep it as undeveloped as possible. One of the accomplishments I think that we've been able to pull off during the years I've been on, again, all credit to the mayor and the council as well, particularly the mayor, is the fact that we've been able to put these developments in more commercial areas as opposed to residential areas. That's been our objective. So you don't have a big development smack dab in the middle of a residential area, and that could affect property values adversely. So we've done that, and I think we've accomplished that to a large degree. But every town is faced with this. No town is immune from Mount Laurel. Every town, no matter they're rich or poor, whatever, have to address this issue.
Okay. What are some of the issues or plans and visions that you, as a councilman, and as the entire council board, would like to focus on in the coming years?
Okay. Well, we just finished our master plan.
Okay.
We do every 10 years.
All right.
And it's just kind of a guideline. It's nothing cast in stone. One of the things we're going to be working on is the redevelopment of the downtown area. What's called the Franklin Avenue, Colonial Road, that area down there. That's still a work in progress. A lot is being done in the context of Centennial next year. This is going to be the Centennial of Franklin Lakes.
Really?
Yes.
Next year is the Centennial.
Next year. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And so we're going to have, obviously, a parade. We're going to have fireworks. Dina Robinson is in charge of that, by the way.
Okay.
And there's a lot of good things being planned. Again, it's in formation. So I can't give you many specifics on that. Carnival, town fair, all that sort of thing. But all things being equal, and assuming COVID doesn't rear its ugly head again, it should be a phenomenal event. And I look forward to
Okay.
that. And that kind of works a little bit with the redevelopment of the downtown area, because that'll be where a lot of the action is taking place. Redevelopment is a multi-year project again. That will not be accomplished by next year. But you will see a little bit of sprucing up by next year for the Centennial. And I think after that, you'll see some more work going on. And again, we're hoping we can maintain the quality of life that we have in Franklin Lakes. Certainly the Sigma property, what happens on that could have a bearing, but that's near the Parsons Park area. That's kind of away from us a little bit. So that won't have a dramatic impact. And I think more than that is what we can do.
In terms of the Sigma property, right? You mentioned that they're closing down too, right?
Right.
Why is that?
It's economics. It's office space. Need I tell you, a lot of major Fortune 500 companies don't need office space anymore.
Right.
Okay. However, I don't want to abandon all hope on that. I don't want to go into detail on that, but there are people who've expressed interest in that property. And so we'll see. And bids were due this month. So those are being analyzed. And it's not something we really have a direct input into, because obviously it's a private company. They can sell to whoever they want. But certainly we're becoming aware of the options, and we'll see where that goes.
Okay. Now let's talk more about your personal work, right? So you are an attorney. You've been an attorney, and you've had your own practice for the past, what, like 20, 30 years?
40 years.
40 years. Oh my gosh.
40
Okay.
Years. 40 years.
40 years. Okay. And your practice is based in which town?
In Ridgewood.
In Ridgewood. Okay. So it's a very quick drive, right? From
that's like 8 minutes, 9 minutes. Parking's the worst part of it. Parking, but apart from that.
Oh yeah, in Ridgewood, yeah, it's tough to find parking there, right? It's especially in the downtown area.
Downtown area is brutal.
Yeah, but your practice, let me throw it up here. You specialize in estates, personal injury, and immunity court, right?
Right.
So during this past year and a half, because of COVID, have you found like a downtick in your practice or anything like that? Or
sure, I would say estates have gone up dramatically.
Okay.
Some of it's COVID related, some of it isn't, but that's really gone up very dramatically. Landlord tenant, which I did a lot of, has been basically put on hold because of the moratorium.
Right, because of the moratoriums. Yeah.
I can file complaints, or I did before the moratorium, but I've got complaints that are 8 months old. They're just sitting there in the court because the court's not moving them because of the governor and the chief justice. They said you can't move them. Right. Municipal court kind of died for a while, and they dismissed a lot of cases by order of the court. So that got slow, but now that's picking up again, which is good. Personal injury has been pretty steady along the lines there, if I had to say anything. And collection, same thing. That's been fairly steady. So if I had to characterize it anyway, that would be it.
All right. Now, on top of your busy schedule as a private attorney and a councilman, you do a lot of outside stuff as past president of the Bergen County Bar Association. Currently, you're the current president of the Bergen County Bar Foundation. Do you want to talk a little bit more about those two things?
Absolutely. Bergen County Bar Association, which is one of my proudest accomplishments. That's one of the oldest bar associations in the state, and we had approximately 2,000 members. Okay. And basically, we're a trade organization. We serve the needs of most of the lawyers in this county. And I was president about, I'm trying to think how long ago. Yes, now 20 years ago. Anyway, don't do this to me, Ron.
So back when you were 15, right? Okay.
Thank you, Ron. When I was 15, I was an early starter.
Right.
And it's a great organization, still going strong. We have a building in Hackensack. Now, going to the foundation owns the building, and we are the charitable wing of the association. So we do scholarships. We give money to charities. I would say for all associations of legal type, it's been challenging because our bread and butter, we do dinners and golf outings and things like that. And we raise money that way. Right. During the COVID year, you couldn't do that. And so that was a real challenge, and we had to kind of scrimp by. Things are on an uptick now. Now they're getting a lot better, which is good.
But unfortunately, now there's this new Delta variant, right? So let's hope that doesn't put a damper on things, right?
We've got a golf outing and dinner in October and in September as well. And I really hope that we can come and go outside. We can do it outside if we have to. Golf's a little bit easier for that. But even the dinner, we can do outside or inside. But it scares me. It really does.
Okay, now, Councilman, you're up for re-election this year, right? And in fact, we're both going to be on the same ballot. So to everyone who's watching, please vote for Charles and for me, right? Are you going to be going door to door in the coming months?
I would like to do that, and
Okay.
that's certainly an option. Franklin Lakes is a unique kind of town for door to door. I've done that before, as you might have guessed. In that, people, well, I won't say they're not receptive, but we have very broad lots here, as you know, 1 and 2 acre zoning and the like. They see somebody coming up to the door, and sometimes
they take out their shotguns, right?
Are you going to serve me with a warrant or something like that? So it's a little bit different than a smaller community that way. What I've usually campaigned is like at the Market Basket.
Okay.
Or the Stop and Shop, if they'll let me do it. And I find that's even more effective because everybody comes there. Interestingly, by the way, when I've gone to the Market Basket on weekends, I remember the last time, everybody's from out of town, or virtually everybody. But on the weekdays, they're from in town.
Yeah,
so that was
that's when you get the locals, right?
The locals are there on the weekdays. That's a good place to campaign. So
okay. So, Councilman, in the midst of your busy schedule, how do you find time to like cook or eat? I mean, do you cook or do you eat out or what do you do?
I'll tell you how I cook. I can boil water in microwave. Is that qualify for cooking?
That counts, right?
Does that count? Okay.
That counts, yeah.
I would starve without the Market Basket.
Okay.
I'll tell you. I mean,
they have a lot of the pre-made food, right? That you just
I mean,
right?
I know Roberto over there and the other people, Ruben, who work there. How do you beat it? You get a complete dinner for like $10 or $11.
Right.
You throw it in a microwave, and I'm on my next meeting.
There you go. Okay. All right, Councilman, is there anything else you would like to tell the audience tonight? Like any messaging or any tips or advice to any aspiring lawyers who may want to join the County Bar Association or the Bar Foundation or anything, or to anyone who may want to run for council?
Okay, well, that's a multiple compound question. Yeah. So we got that one. Well, certainly, if you want to join the Bar Association or the Bar Foundation, by all means, we'd love to have you, and it's a very collegial group of people. But if you're thinking of becoming a lawyer, well, I don't need the competition. But apart from that, no. As far as the town is concerned, I hope that people feel that we're doing a good job for them. I encourage them to come to our council meetings. They are open.
The council meetings are open to the public, or are they still done virtual?
No, they were virtual during COVID, but they're open to the public. You can come if you feel comfortable doing so. We don't get much coverage from the press, unfortunately. I regret that. We had, when Suburban News was going in Villadome Times, we had great coverage. We don't have that anymore. And I feel badly because I want the public to know what we're doing. We're doing some good things. So I encourage them to come to those meetings. And I don't know, what else was in your compound question?
Well, those meetings, they take place on which day?
Every other Tuesday, the first Tuesday, third Tuesday of the month at 7:30 p.m.
Okay, great. All right, yeah, no, I think you answered every single question that I had.
I hope so. I tried. I wish you luck, Ron.
Thank you.
You're a great campaigner. You had a great event a few weeks ago, and you're really spirited, and you got in your gut, and do the best you can.
Thank you for your support, and I look forward to walking door to door with you in Franklin Lakes and throughout Bergen County. Right?
Just give me a call. That's something I would be happy to do. Just give me a call.
Oh, one last question. So, Councilman, do you have any aspirations for maybe higher office at some point?
Funny you should.
Or are you going to give me the political answer, like, "Oh, I'm currently happy being a councilman"?
No, I'm going to give you a different answer.
Okay.
Going to give a very different answer. My mother, who has passed away, was an Australian. She was a war bride. She came here, and I used to talk to her about that. And she said, "Well, you know what?" And I'm paraphrasing the line here. It's an old British or English saying. In every private's military bag, there's a lieutenant's baton.
Right. That's
okay.
That's right. Yeah.
Is that a good answer or no?
Yep. I think we all know what that means, right? Okay. So we'll be on the lookout for Charles Kahwaty for councilman currently, and who knows in the future, right? The future is bright, right?
We don't know what the future is, so.
Exactly. All right, sir. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out tonight to talk to us. And you have a lovely kitchen, by the way.
It was redone about just before the COVID, by the way.
Right.
You got my microwave. There we go.
It's kind of it's too bad because you have a lovely kitchen, but I'm guessing the only thing that you use in that kitchen is the microwave.
You're right. He has an incompetent proprietor.
Right.
That's the problem. So anyway.
All right.
Well,
okay.
Good luck,
well,
Ron. Great to see you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Have a great night, a great weekend, and we'll talk to you very soon. Okay.
Excellent. Stay well.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, guys. So that was my interview tonight with Councilman Charles Kahwaty. He once again is a dedicated public servant, a great fellow. He's got a great kitchen. And I think the future for him is very, very bright. And I'm so proud that we're both from the same town. And I look forward to walking door to door with him at some point in the coming weeks and the coming months. Okay, guys, that's our show for tonight. Stay tuned for our show in the coming weeks because we've got a lot of special guests. A lot. We got people running for Congress, people running for Assembly, running for State Senate, and I even have a special guest. Like, guess what? He escaped the CCP in China. Okay, he escaped them after Tiananmen Square. He came over to the U.S. as a college student. He, made himself a great life here in America. He built his business empire. At some point, he went back to China to protest the CCP. And while he was there, he was locked up for 3 years. For 3 years in a Chinese prison. After he came out of prison, they sent him back to the U.S., at which point his business it was gone, right? So he had to start over. And he built back. He built back better, to borrow a line from Biden's slogan. He built back better. And that, I think, is the very meaning of the American dream, right? He did it twice, right? That's the very definition of the American dream. He had it all, lost it all, came back and did it again, and now he's bigger, right? Bigger and better. So we'll be talking to this individual in the coming weeks. I think he's got a great story to share. It's a very sensitive topic because, deals with the CCP, with communism. But I think the more hopeful message of that interview is that it deals with the American dream and what you can accomplish here if you really wanted to, right? Okay, guys. So I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. Once again, if you want to check out my campaign, you can go to ronaldjosephlin.com. ronaldjosephlin.com. If you think you have a great story to share and you want to come on, please email us at realtalkwithronnie@gmail.com. realtalkwithronnie@gmail.com. And of course, you can check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/realtalkwithronnie. All right. And if you're so inclined to, we also have a YouTube channel. Just search for Real Talk with Ronnie and you can find us there. All right, guys, it is it's August 1st, 2021. And thank you for watching us tonight. I wish you all a very happy rest of Sunday and a great week. And we will see you all next Sunday, same time, same place here on Facebook Live. Okay. Thank you. Good night. And God bless you all.